In the beginning, the disk is empty. There is nothing on it. It's empty space. This process will delete all the things that are on the disk. So be careful. The first thing we have to do is to create partitions on this empty disk. The disk is called SDA. SD is the disk, stands for disk, and A stands for the first disk in the computer. So this is SDA, and a second disk would be called SDB. And we create a first partition, that means a first part on this whole disk. This partition is called SDA1. We create a second partition, that's called SDA2. That's the green part here. And we create a third partition that's called SDA3, and you can see it here at the end in yellow. This is only an example. You can create other partition tables as you like. Why should we create partitions? That's because we want to have separate parts on our disk. The first partition is for our operating system, for Arch. Now we can use the second partition for our home folder. We can use the third partition for swap or for boot partition. I don't want to go too much into details of the installation process. Instead of that, I want to show the basics of the installation. The next thing we have to do is to create a file system. What is a file system? This green or this blue partition is an empty room, and now you have to fill it with, let's say, bookshelves. We need bookshelves that fit to your folders. Now we have to create a file system that fits to Linux. If we don't create a file system, we cannot install any Linux system. One of the file systems that fit to Linux is ext4, ext4. It's not the only one, but it's kind of standard. The command for this is mkfs, that means make file system. What file system? ext4. And where do we want that? We want that here on the blue partition SDA1 on the device SDA1. The next step is that we have to mount the partitions. That means that the Linux system, Arch Linux, knows, hey, this is the place I should go, and therefore we should mount it. The command is mount device SDA1, that means the blue one here, and we have a mount point MNT. This is important because now Arch Linux knows where to go. Not here, not here, that's the place. So now we can install Arch Linux. This partition here on SDA1 is now ready for the installation of Arch Linux. And we have a script for this task, and we have a command pacstrap that starts this script. And there, should we install it, here is the mount point we created here. The base is a minimal Arch system, and base devel is a little bit more. You can choose only base, but then you have more work to do afterwards. I would recommend base and base devel. Now you can lean back and wait, because the installation process starts and you will be told if it ends. Now you have to create configuration files. Why do you have to do that? Because the system does not know the name of the user. It does not know the name of the computer. It does not know the passwords. It does not know the keyboard layout. It does not know the language. It does not know the time zone. All that you have to tell Arch Linux now. And for this task you have to create configuration files. How do you do that? With a text editor called Nano. It's not a graphical text editor. It's a text editor in the shell. I give you an example, just one. There are many tasks you have to do. This is one example. The command is nano etc/local.gen. That means nano opens in a directory etc the file local.gen. And now you can change what is in this file. As I said, there are a lot more configuration files, but if you have done that, you have to install applications. Some are necessary, some are not. The bootloader grub is necessary. It doesn't have to be grub, but you need some kind of bootloader. You need a display server, Xorg or Wayland. You need a desktop environment, for example XFCE or GNOME or Plasma or Mate or Budgie. You need a login manager, for example IDM. And you can install all these applications with pacman. The command is pacman-s and then the name of the application you want to install. For example, if you want to install XFCE, you have to put in here XFCE4. If you want to install GIMP, you have to put in GIMP. I know there's a lot more you have to do when you install Arch, but I wanted to show what are the 4 main steps for the installation of Arch. Not only for Arch, it's the same with Ubuntu or Debian. Subscribe to my channel would be great. I see you.